Hi, everybody. It's Jim Black. Welcome back to another edition of Know Before You Owe. I'm very excited today to be with Brian Vieaux. And Brian is the FinLocker head president of an amazing tool that we use here in the mortgage and real estate space. And I'm honored to have Brian on my call today. Thanks for being on.
Jim, thanks for having me, man. I love what you're doing with this show.
Thank you so much. So behind me is a view of where you were 2 weekends ago, if I recall.
Yeah.
Or last.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 weekends ago in Napa, we squeezed in between the two torrential rainstorms, so we didn't get wet at all.
That's awesome. Good timing. And where you live, let's just say the weather is a little less like what I see in the background, right? Is it?
Well, yes, except for today on whatever we are, February 9th, it's almost 60 degrees.
Wow. That's
crazy.
like it. That's huge. That's cool.
Wild.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you being on. I've known of you, and I know we've been part of a similar association for a long time together. And what I admire about your tenacity is you've stayed true to offering solutions and products that loan officers and realtors need to be in front of to make sure clients have all the tools to make a great decision with one of the largest decisions in life, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the average price point being of a home being about 10 times your monthly income. It's important to really understand what goes into a payment, what goes into planning ahead. And so can you share a little bit more about FinLocker and how you got started in the business, please?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll kind of start with myself first and how I got here. So 4.5 years ago, I joined FinLocker as president, and that followed 30 years in the first the home mortgage space. So mortgage production management. I ran the third party origination business for Flagstar Bank for a number of years. But I always knew FinLocker. I know the founders very well, and was kind of watching what they were doing. And they started to kind of pique my interest when they took the original use case, which was digital asset verification, which was cool, but it was a step in the process. And they started to think about how to expand off of that technology that was built to connect and share data from a bank account to get to today, which is this holistic consumer financial fitness and home ownership experience. And so what I'm most excited about and most passionate about, and it's kind of what keeps me going despite the challenges of being in a mortgage tech startup and arguably the worst, 24 months in our mortgage memory. Of course, I lived through the meltdown as well. So this is like a little bit of a recurring nightmare for me. But I truly believe that the local loan officer is the best source of financial education for aspiring home buyers. And I like to talk about that first-time home buyer specifically. Most of them don't have enough assets to warrant having a personal financial advisor. Most of them, if they have a personal banker, it's the ATM. That's the extent of their financial relationship. And so who better positioned to be that trusted source of financial education, fitness, literacy, and preparation as it relates to home ownership than the loan officer with that aspiring home buyer. And so what we've really focused on is becoming a partner with those loan officers that have that mindset. And our product helps them scale their ability to help consumers in that kind of financial preparedness state. So there's a lot there, but that at its core is what we're all about, is helping loan officers be better positioned to help more consumers who are in their home buying preparation phase.
Yeah, that's great. Great insight. We had one of our friends on our last podcast, Kevin Peranio, and he's of the same mindset. So what I love to hear is that it's local expertise, right? Grassrooted community leaders that can help provide tools like FinLocker to help make good decisions for families around wealth and real estate. And then also you said like FinLocker started as one niche or one tool and has complementarily built other things that can help that enhancement of that experience, right?
Yeah.
You're not on one side doing something extreme and on the other another thing. They're all aligned and all a seamless integration with the process and home ownership journey.
Yep.
It's buying a new house for the first time, or refinancing, or moving up or moving down. FinLocker is a great tool to have in front of you to make sure that you're understanding all the different scenarios that can come out of that decision you make, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the one analogy I like to, or example maybe I'll share for those that are, really close to this industry, this mortgage industry. I'm in Detroit, greater Detroit. And so we've got, we're kind of the mortgage mecca, right? There's a lot of big mortgage companies here, a couple that don't necessarily care for each other too much. One of those, if you look at their business and their business model, Quicken at the time acquired a personal financial management app company called Truebill. They didn't acquire Truebill to be in the PFM business and scrape, subscription fees. They got in the PFM business as a top of funnel magnet to reach and attract and engage consumers way up the funnel before they're even thinking about buying a home, right? And so when I think about the playbook of IMBs and mortgage originators, independent mortgage brokers, the whole gamut of local mortgage professionals, one of the playbooks is right there in front of us, and it's what Rocket's doing with now Rocket Money. And so one way to think about the FinLocker solution is we effectively are the Rocket Money for everybody that's not Rocket Mortgage, right? We do a full white label branded solution. And so the difference with our consumer experience is that we do have all the personal financial management tools and the credit monitoring and credit education and credit improvement and real estate search and property valuation. And on top of that, those kind of core tools, we built a very custom set of tools that are specifically addressing the journey towards mortgage readiness. And I say it that way on purpose. We're not necessarily a pre-approval engine or a pre-qualification engine. We're a education and preparation toolkit that is best delivered with that loan officer that has that same mindset. When you package together the passion of a local mortgage professional who truly has the vision to lead with financial education with our toolkits, it's an unstoppable combination, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you 200%. And again, it's all about also looking at how banks traditionally have created retention, right?
Yeah.
They have a high retention because they've cross-sold 5 or 6 or 7 different products. So you're kind of trapped in a way using them.
Yeah.
I have a national bank account that I am afraid to turn off because I have my ACHs going through for my life insurance policy from 2001. Like, I'm like, do I push this button? Does it end my insurance? Like, So I believe we have to provide the same mindset to our consumers. And also, a house may come on the market that people weren't expecting to come on the market, or rates drop, or rates go higher, or life events happen. If we're not in front of them and have prepared them for those decisions, they may not make those decisions.
Right.
And I think that's my most important job, is providing the tools to allow someone to actually create an action plan and do something, right? Yes or no, stay or move, rent or buy, you name it. That's our goal, right? We got to provide the tools and be that resource. So I commend you a lot for FinLocker being one of the leaders of this movement. And also, I know you're partnering with a lot of great companies out there that also have the same mindset of partnering together, creating collaboration, and be able to really enhance each other's platforms, because we can't all be everything to all people, but we can hopefully provide the right niches and the right solutions when we're called on. I look at myself as the bat loan man. I want to be there when the symbol goes up for when they are prepared, not to bug them about some pumpkin pie recipe or, something that doesn't matter, to anybody. So anyways, that's cool. Any other insights around kind of what you're looking forward to in 2024? Like what does FinLocker and this year look like? Well,
let's just call 2023, call it what it was. It sucked for everybody, and thank God it's over. It's what's encouraging here, 6 weeks into the new year, is there's definitely more optimism. And I think part of that is, 2023 allowed the industry to shed some of the I guess the fat that we've been carrying for a long time in our industry. And so with that, there's fewer players today. And so fewer players, even if the business is flat, means those players are going to get more opportunities. So I'm encouraged by the optimism to begin the year. But what I'm most excited about is how I'm seeing loan officers put themselves out there, particularly on social, as financial experts, as financial resources. And I'm seeing so much great content being produced that is not salesy. It's leading with value in the form of education. And to me, it resonates with what we're trying to do and support that mission. And it's important because if you're providing in any business, if you can lead with value and provide value first, you build trust, and that earns you the right to compete for the business. Doesn't guarantee you the right to get the business, but at least it earns you the right to compete, and that's all any of us can hope for. And so, I commend folks like yourself that are buying in and buy into this theory and thesis that leading with education and preparation and being that trusted resource, is our highest and best use as mortgage professionals.
Absolutely. And I love that that mindset around know, like, trust, refer. And then I say repeat after that, because it feels like if you've done it for one family member or one friend or one relative, you're going to get the opportunity again if you've done a great job. So
for sure,
I really appreciate that perspective. And again, you mentioned passion. I think anyone in today's world that's been in this space for more than 10 years has to have a passion, because that's kind of the way that you can drive through some of the negativity or some of the time traps or just some of the things that don't create a lot of momentum or a lot of excitement. So passion is one of those themes that I hear is a constant right now that you got to have. And I love your little quote in the background there on your side. Never quit.
Right.
That's awesome. I also see a symbol in the background over there that I'm going to have to combat. I'm going to have to combat just to make sure we're on the same page here. If you can rep yours, I'm repping mine.
Yeah.
So Brian's obviously a diehard Lions fan, and I have mad respect for the Lions this year. I was hoping that if it wasn't playing my team, that you guys would be in the Super Bowl. And I love that story, that whole program, like sometimes like a business or something new, a new hobby. If you have the right mindset, you believe in your core values and you stay consistent with those and you don't let anything else distract you, you're going to get to your goal. And that's the story of the Lions, right? You guys had a program 3 years ago, right? Dan Campbell came in. He was very clear on his objectives, very clear on his approach and his plan. And first 2 years were building years, right? But then we saw a program completely turn around, and now it's probably one of the top 2 or 3 most exciting football teams to watch throughout the NFL.
Yeah, I tell people it's like, it would have been great to win the NFC Championship, but realistically, if someone would have told me back on that Thursday night, first game of the season against the Chiefs, before kickoff, that the Lions were going to finish the season in the NFC Championship, lose by 3 or 4 points, whatever it was, every one of us would have signed up for that day, and been extremely gratified and satisfied, right? And so, in the immediate sting, it sucked, but now we can look back and say it's a process, it's a building block, and just like our business, right? Sometimes you got to come through the darkest days to see the light on the other side. And
and there's foundational elements there, right? He built a foundation, and that's the key, right? We build foundations based upon core values and our visions and values, and hope that we have other like-minded people. It's kind of like working with a realtor or a business partner. If they have strong values like yourself, they probably know other people that have similar values. So that's what I love when I meet a top a top caliber person versus a top producer necessarily.
Sure.
I want to be around top caliber people because I get inspired by them. I learn, I grow. I'm validating some of my beliefs, and I also have someone to look up to. So that's what I always love about even doing these podcasts, right? We're sharing information, insight for decades of experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I get to do that in a forum that creates a win-win. I get to learn as much as hopefully other guests are learning by listening or watching. So that's great.
Same reason I do my little podcast. It's they're amazed, whatever it is, 15 to 30 minutes, whatever you're doing. It's we're not talking about business. We're not distracted by other things. And you truly get to learn about, I always say you get to learn about cool people, products, and companies in these conversations.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll take my hat off now to be respectful. I don't need to rub it in too much. So let's talk about so getting perspective. So if you were to look back like a few decades, right?
Yeah.
Younger Brian, as handsome, I'm sure, probably the same.
Yours a little darker.
I always like to give our guests something that a perspective that they can have to look towards the future for them and their decision-making process that you've learned from your experiences. It could be business, it could be personal, it could be life, whatever you want to bring up. But I always like to have our guests share something because again, I appreciate, and I normally bring this into my own world from what I learned.
Yeah, I love the question, and thanks for giving me a little bit of a heads up to think about it, because it's something that I don't know if I would have been put on the spot if I'd answer the same way. But so I started in the industry. My very first professional job out of college was in the mortgage industry in 1991. So I'm a lifer by any definition, which means I suffered and survived and lived through the meltdown. Right, I was at IndyMac Bank when on July 8th of 2008, it was a Saturday, by the way, the bank went under. Right, we had a run on the bank. I ran the correspondent business there, and I got a text to get on a call with my team on a Saturday. I'm like, well, that can't be good. So, truly, I'll call it the darkest of all darkest moments from a professional perspective. So now, as I think back to how that, what did I do immediately following that, and what would I do differently then with the experience I have now? I don't have to go back too far. So, at the end of 2022. I made a personal and professional decision and commitment that I was going to go all in on the LinkedIn platform to help build my personal brand. Why did I want to build my personal brand? Because I wanted to become a thought leader. Why did I want to become a thought leader? Because I wanted to have more followers on my LinkedIn platform. Why did I want more followers? Because I wanted more people to understand who FinLocker is and what we were doing. Why did I want that to happen? Because I wanted to fill my pipeline, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get all the way down to the end of that last sequence of whys. The reason I put any piece of content on LinkedIn every day is I want to end up resulting in building our business, right? So all the stuff in the middle is kind of a ways to the mean, or a means to the end. And so I wish back in 2008, I had the same kind of inspiration, motivation, to do the same thing and focus then on building my own personal brand that would have led to whatever the next thing was I was going to do professionally. Because I truly believe, with 15 years of what I've done in the last 12 months, if I had that under my belt, it would be an unbelievable story. But I'm still super grateful for where I am now, a full year after literally putting content out every day in 2023, like multiple times a day. I apologize for people whose feeds I clog up from time to time.
That's awesome.
But it's built, it's helped create and build a personal brand that I've actually, it's now very organic. It's not like contrived or anything. I truly, when I say I believe in the local loan officer and them being the best trusted source of financial education, I truly do believe that. And now people connect what I'm saying about, financial education without even having to say the word FinLocker. They're connecting the dots on that. And so my challenge to anybody that's considering thinking about kind of putting themselves out there and elevating their personal brand, it has a payoff. It's work that you have to do, but it has a payoff. It's worth it. And you get to meet a lot of cool people. I mean, that's probably why you and I are doing this right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been following you. Yeah. I've been following you, and I also know you're authentic, right? And genuine. And that's one thing you don't get on a text or email, or you get it a little bit on a phone, but I think you have to see somebody to build that, verify that they're a human being that has similar interests, that cares. You can see it in 2 seconds if you read someone's face or someone's expressions. So that's cool. Right on. So personally, you've made a commitment, or sorry, business-wise, you made a commitment to be consistent on that 2023, thing. What are some other things that you're, doing that are different or unique, that are important to you? What are things that stand out to you that gets you going every morning?
So, we're married for a long time, 30 plus years, and 3 grown kids. Our oldest, he's up here on one of these shelves, played, still kind of chasing the professional baseball career. So we love to, we're privileged and blessed to, he's 30 years old and we're still watching it, our oldest son play baseball. It's kind of crazy. So
wasn't he on the Pirates? I think I saw. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He spent 43 days on the big league roster of the Pirates a couple summers ago. So
cool.
Yeah. So that's a lot, we're a sports family. So that's fun. And then kind of back to business, but a little bit, personal and business. I on the LinkedIn platform, met a guy named Kyle Draper, who's a social media kind of guru coach. He and I hit it off right away, and we're about to publish a book together. The book is Rethink Everything You Know About Being a Next Gen Loan Officer. And so everything we've been talking about here for the last 20 minutes or so is going to come out in that book. And it's not Kyle or I writing, because no one's going to buy a book that I'm writing. But trust me, we put together a team of 37 professionals, experts within the industry that are, selflessly sharing their tricks, their tips, the tools that are making them successful. All with the idea that the next generation home buyer is not the same as, last generations. And if we want to succeed in this industry as loan officers or anybody that serves the home buyer, we have to be better prepared to serve that next gen home buyer. And a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, you got to get younger. You got to be a younger loan officer. No, it's a mindset. It's all about mindset. And I actually believe that experienced, seasoned loan officers are another great resource for younger home buyers, because oftentimes we can bring our own personal experiences of buying and selling homes and the challenges that we've had through that. So super excited about the book. Can't wait for it to get out there and for readers to start to get their hands on it. It's a unique format. The chapters are kind of small. They're short, 1,200 words, but each chapter has a QR code. And so it's like I call it the modern day scratch and sniff, right?
Nice.
So I'm reading this, I'm reading a book, and, Victoria DeLuce, as an example, is writing a chapter on the importance of understanding capital markets and being able to educate consumers. Well, she can talk and write about that for 1,200 words, but then you get to, flash a QR code and then go deeper. And Victoria shows up on video, going a layer deeper into the story and really kind of bring it home. So it's an interactive book. It's kind of what we believe it's going to be a way for loan officers to kind of have this expert network now of 37 professionals that are not only on this book that sits on their desk, but hopefully they're going to connect with all of them and start building relationships that are going to expand and just make us all better in this business to ultimately serve that next generation home buyer.
I love that. That's so cool. I can't wait to get the book. We'll put that in the information from the podcast too. Just send me the title. I'm happy to support it.
Right on.
And again, that goes back to like putting the tools around the consumer or the person looking for something, and putting the best of class people around that resource to make sure that they have the best resources to go to. It's not generalist Jim or mediocre, Joe. It's going to be someone that has an expertise in something specific they're looking for. So I'm really excited about looking in that book. And I love the QR element, so I could be driving and maybe virtually watching by listening. That'll be exciting to do. And I really appreciate your time, Brian. I know we have some exciting things coming ahead with your company and my company and other startups and fintechs. And I can't wait to see the success this year in 2024. And I want to show one more thing. A lot of people think that the number 87 is actually for who?
So, well, it's Dan Campbell.
Okay, let's see. Okay, there it is. There's number 1, Dan Campbell. Who's number 2?
87. It's got to be a tight end, right?
Kelsey. It's Kelsey. Yeah. I mean, sorry. Yes. Taylor Kelsey. Well, here's the original number 87.
So I still remember the catch.
There Look at that. Signed by Dwight Clark. This is autographed from him. This is actually his jersey.
So that was
original
the
jersey.
If I'm not mistaken, back of the end zone, Joe Montana, right? Was that the Super Bowl?
It happened to be against the Cowboys, yes, and it was a defining moment in the Niners' legacy, or their, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
But I hope something like that happens this weekend. I'm hoping for a great football game between the Chiefs and the Niners. Life is about enjoying the moments, and I want to see another exciting game like the Lions and Niners last weekend, and just hope that it's exciting and it keeps us on our edge of our seat. And those people practice for 48 minutes, right? 48 minutes of their life, sometimes even just one play in a game, right? Your son knows that for baseball, right?
Right.
That is life sometimes. And so being prepared and being your best version of yourself as long as you can is kind of life. And so I look forward to you and I sharing more moments like this, and can't wait to see you in person soon. And really appreciate your time today on a Friday when I know you have a lot going on. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for watching our podcast. Know before you owe. Like, follow, and subscribe us. And Brian, thank you again for your time, and looking forward to FinLocker kicking some butt even more in 2024.
Right on. Go Niners.